You alright?
I am.
Cool.
Yeah.
Should we do this thing?
Let's do it.
And welcome to another
VanChat Tuesday.
Yes. And in this one, it's kind of like a bit of a recap, but for those of you who watched our recent video about crossing to France with Cooper and the procedure, this is just us explaining it rather than it being about the video.
Yep, because there was a lot going on in those videos, I think.
Yeah.
So maybe we just need to get the little bits of important information because we've been asked a lot of times about the nuances and the little differences between like this time and last time and things. So yeah.
Get you. French's nuances.
Nuance.
So it's quite simple. We arrived at the Channel Tunnel little booth. Normally it's AMPR and you just come in and it spits out a ticket and off you go. However, I think they were having a bit of a down day or something like that for computer systems. So there was somebody in the booth and they asked us to confirm our booking number.
Yes.
Which we said, it's us too, booking number, and we got a dog. They then instantly wrote down a bit of a thing on a ticket that says, please go over there to the pet reception.
Yes.
And they shall deal with you.
And she was very lovely, and we weren't given any indication at this point which train we were going to get on, which was unusual because normally
You have a choice
you
there,
get your choice as you pull up to the window. But I think because of the systems being down and the fact that we have to go through, they kind of force you to go to pet reception by not giving you your ticket information. Yeah. So we went through there, went parked up.
Yep, so parked up. You got all your information out, which is organised.
All the information.
Literally every single bit we had, which consisted of everything to do with Cooper at the time. So his animal health certificate, which we got, like I said in a previous video, is usual UK pet passport. All the other documentation is like rabies jab, is what's it called, a titrus?
Titer test.
Yeah, his blood test.
The blood
anyway.
test to prove that he's got the antibodies.
Yeah, so the rabies jab he's had has actually worked and is effective.
Yep, and his normal jab certificate that we get when you go to the vets with all the stamps and the dates and things, which they didn't even bother looking at. But it's everything there.
And then we took our stuff as well, so our passports, our printed COVID jab proof or whatever, QR codes and that. And then off we trotted.
To the wonderful air-conditioned pet reception. It's a brand new building that they've added on to the side of the normal duty-free place that you go in there. And it was lovely and comfortable, very beautifully air-conditioned.
Yes.
A nice little queue. There was loads of drinking water bowls and things for the dogs. And stuff. So
no real panic to it, no stress or anything like that. There's probably about 3 people waiting in front of us.
Yep.
So yeah, wait for our turn, get called in. And then it was just a case of like asking for all the different things. So I think the first one we wanted to see was the AHC.
The AHC, yeah. So we went through all of that, and we'd gone through, when we were at the vets, we'd gone through and checked that each page was stamped and it had all the bits that they needed on each page of the certificate. So we were confident that it wouldn't be a problem. Yeah. But he's still a bit nail biting because it's the first time we're going through there. So the guy was lovely though, and he was chatty as he was going through and checking everything. Made sure that everything was fine on Cooper's thing. Gave us a chip scanner.
Oh yeah.
And then we had to go beep on Cooper's chip just so we could confirm that the chip number was the same on the animal health certificate. And then after that, he checked that we were double jabbed. Yeah,
he just asked the question, didn't ask for any proof or anything, did he? Just made sure that we were ready to travel, I guess, for the next stage.
Yeah, I do wonder if with us he said, are you double jabbed? And because we said yes, that was it. If we'd have said no, would he have said, have you got proof of your PCR test or something? Maybe there's other questions down the line that you would get asked differently. Checks. Yeah.
Well, then it was a case of, right, I can get you on this crossing. So we just went for the next available one, which is about an hour or so. Yep. And then he printed us the usual little thing that you hang from your rearview mirror.
Yes.
If you've got a vehicle with a rearview mirror.
Which we don't.
No. So we just kind of put it on the dash.
So we just put it on the dashboard, and then you took Coopy back to the van while I hit up the duty free, because why wouldn't you? And it was weird because that's the first time in a very long time that I've had to show a boarding card to be able to buy anything from the duty free shop. Because normally it's just a given, isn't it? But now
Signs of Brexit.
Yes, so I had to show them my boarding card before I could buy anything from the duty free shop.
Yeah,
and that hour just whizzed right by, didn't it?
It really did. Yeah. Then we got the call. Next phase was going through to the UK passport control. So that was just bomb passports, handed them back, off we went. And then next queue. Actually, no, there was a guy asking about gas before then, wasn't he?
Yeah. So
Have you
we'd gone
turned your
through.
gas off?
We'd gone through the English bit, and then the guy stood at the end of the little booth and just stopped us and said, "Is your gas turned off?" We said yes.
So
and,
that was it. Didn't check it. Just took my word for it.
Yep, and that was straight through them.
Yep. Then off to the French passport control, which took the passports. Then he asked for the proof of vaccine.
Yep.
Which you passed him, and
I kind of waved it out the window, and he just goes,
yeah. It didn't even leave your hands, did it?
No.
So that was that stage, and then that was it. Nothing else to report.
No, they didn't check the van for anything, for food or anything like that. I mean, we had empty fridge anyway because we love going to the French supermarkets and stuff, which it was very obvious to everyone when we met up with them in France because we had to drink all of their beer.
Yeah, we were ready for a supermarket.
Yeah, because we cupboards were bare. But
yeah, we did that because we like to go to the French supermarkets, not because we were worried about taking stuff over.
Yeah.
But yeah, and on the French side, no controls, no checks or anything like that. Literally pass into France, off the train, onto the motorway, and then we were off, really.
Yeah, so that was really, really straightforward.
Yeah.
And probably, I say a lot of worry over nothing, but it might have been the extra double checking that I was doing that made it so there wasn't a problem. But yeah, it was a bit
worthwhile.
Yeah, to go through and just double check everything.
And then as far as the French vets, where we got the EU vet passport, or pet passport, sorry, you'd spoken to them on the phone. I know a lot of people said they've emailed and not got a response back, or not a favourable response.
Yeah, they're getting a weird response back. But the people who I've been in contact with who have phoned the same vets have had very positive experiences. Yeah. So I think it might just be a thing. I have no idea why.
Yeah.
But I'd phoned up to make sure that they did them, and they would do them for people with a UK address. And they confirmed all of that. And then the week before we came over, I phoned them and double checked that the appointment was okay. Yeah. And then also double checked again in very bad French, but they got the gist anyway. But
I think they appreciate the fact that you, as much as you could, spoke French to them.
Yeah.
Rather than saying, "Do you speak English?"
Yeah, and I always say, "Do you understand English?" I think they tend to appreciate the fact that they know you're English.
Yeah, and I think most foreign language speakers understand a little bit of English, if not, a bit of sort of like broken English back of yes and no's or whatever. But
it's funny, isn't it? Because at school you're told to say, "Do you speak English?" Whereas it really should be, "Do you understand it?"
Yeah.
And at the end, also in very bad French, I always like to say, "Thank you very much for speaking English."
Yeah.
Because I do appreciate it, because it is terrible that we rely on people me personally rely on different people in different countries to speak my language for me to get by. But no, they were absolutely lovely, and we went straight in, and she confirmed everything, confirmed that we had to do a 1 year booster at that point, because she didn't want to the rabies booster, that she didn't want to copy it from the passports we had. Both Rob and I confirmed that the dogs would be fine with the various stages of their current rabies jabs, and she confirmed that was okay. Again, checked the scanned the chips just to make sure that all matched up okay. And then after she'd administered the booster, she then gave him a little bit of a health check and said, "Right, you can go and sit back outside again. I will fill out all your passports and everything, and pick them up and pay at the end."
Yeah.
So, and that could not have been more straightforward. They were so lovely there. They were really lovely and helpful. And I think we were in there for, what do you reckon, 20 minutes?
Yeah, 20. Yeah, about half an hour, something like that.
Yep.
And just to clarify some of the other questions we've got about needing a French address. Fortunately, Rob has friends in France and we've got friends in France, so we both had an address that we could have used, an address that they might send information to, and somebody who lives at that address can then send that information back to us wherever we are. But actually, they just transpose the English address from Coop's pet passport.
Yeah, so all the current information that was in Cooper's English passport, they then just transferred over with the new rabies information into the new French passport.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did ask that if that was the case, because I know that some vets are asking to go in this iCAD system, which is kind of putting your dog and his information on the French system so they can help with any tracing and tracking of your dog if it goes missing. Whereas but the fact that we were in there for 2 days, which I did explain that to the vet as well, saying that we were only transiting through France, I think that might have been why it was okay.
We weren't offered that.
Yeah.
We also weren't told or offered about a French or a European chip His UK chip was fine.
Yeah.
So that's an English address in his EU pet passport, an English chip in there, and as far as everything else is concerned, it was just straightforward. There was no extra checks, there was no extra worries or saying about longevity or validity.
As long as
passport.
Well, it was as long as we made sure that any boosters were done in the EU.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter which country, it doesn't have to be France, but as long as the boosters are done in the EU and not in the UK, then that passport will always be valid.
And if when we come back to England, because a lot of people said, oh, it's only half the story. It's not half the story for us, it's just the story at
it's
this stage.
The story so far. Obviously, once we come back,
we'll report on what goes on.
And even because we're going to be coming out of the EU and we're going to be going back in again, at that point we should, if we didn't have the European pet passport, we'd have had to get another animal health certificate.
Yeah.
So coming back out for when we go into Turkey and then go back into the EU, we'll be able to tell you then how that works out and whether the passport was fine.
Yeah.
And what have you goes on.
Because what we don't expect is to be really any problems going into places like Croatia, because we've got all the certificates we need. But it could well be that as we come back out of Turkey into the EU and through Greece and that they're a bit more stringent on all the paperwork being in the right. We've seen reports of people entering back into Greece from Turkey and going through all sorts of scanners and dog scanners and everything taken out the van. They are quite thorough at that stage. So we just need to make sure we've got everything in place, hopefully, to make that as smooth as it was to get into the EU this way.
Yes.
So.
But we have also heard from people who have done this and they have managed to get back into the EU with their existing UK pet passport, because all that is a proof of vaccine status for your dog. So we've heard that. Obviously this is just supposition, but people are saying that is also okay. So if there was an issue with the French passport, we've still got his English passport that is still valid because the booster doesn't run out until 2022. So there's lots of things. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be interesting to see how that all
how each country deals with it and that.
Yeah.
So, because obviously another part of this is that we're going actually through many country borders. The EU is quite borderless. I mean, we're on country 6 at the moment.
Yeah.
And there has been no border checks for us at all.
No.
So it'd be interesting once we start to get to countries where they do have border checks, which is probably going to be Estonia, the first one.
Yeah.
Then we'll work it out from there. But we'll let you know at every stage. It's just that there was a lot of questions left over from the first video when we did all this. So we thought we'd just make a bit more of a clearer explanation.
Yeah, and, just of the actual processes that we've gone through so far. I mean, although saying Rob was pulled over on the way into Denmark, and they just said he said that they just checked his passport and his proof of vaccination, so nothing for the dog.
Nothing for the dog at all
at this point. So so hopefully it should just be plain sailing, and hopefully if it's not, we've got all the bits.
Touch wood.
And hopefully if it's not plain sailing, we've got everything that we need anyway. So it's either going to be really simple, or hopefully we've got all the paperwork that we need to get us there anyway. But
obviously don't be afraid to ask any questions on this in the comments section down below, or the comment of whichever video is out at the time. We are finding it quite difficult to keep up with older videos, so some questions that you may be asking on older videos aren't being answered. So if that is the case, ask a question on the most recent video we've put out, and then obviously we'll get back to you and update you on that. But we do try our best to keep up with questions via email, comments on YouTube, and questions via Instagram.
There's lots of them, and it's lovely, and it's lovely that people are interested, and that we can help people. So that's one thing that we do like a lot anyway. So please keep them coming, and we will try our very best to keep up with them.
And until the next time, I think that's enough for us. And we are currently looking out over water.
Yes.
And we can see Sweden.
We can see Sweden.
But you're probably going to have to wait for a few weeks until you see Sweden.
We've got to get there first.
We've got to get there first. And I've got to edit some videos.
Yes, you do. What are you doing now then? Put your finger out, man.
Right then.
Off you go.
Okay then. Right, take care, folks.
Take care. See you soon. Bye.